and maybe this is an opportunity to create a new normal, and it really doesn't take a lot of time. And I'll be glad to be the fall guy, if that's necessary. Somebody else, when you sit at home. The epic fails are just any little, I think he said that this chapter, just doing something is better than nothing. And so is there any little something that maybe you've tried that's been good? Good response. Are you having struggles eating together?
I think one thing that helps me is to have other people come over. I just have decided to be a lot more like, hey, we have whatever we have, and you're welcome to be at our table. Because I used to feel like I really afford to all this food and make it really nice. And one of our kids loves to cook. Really wanted to make a steak the other night, and so we had steaks. But there was not really enough other food to go along with it. But we wanted to invite the grandparents over. So come eat steak and whatever else you can find. It was there really should be some special sides. There were few sweet potatoes, but not really enough for everyone. And so that's done. You're welcome to be here. I don't know what we have.
Yeah, and I think that's again another thing he says is don't feel like you don't hold up this model of everything being perfect and like you're entertaining or just make it normal. It's messy. Messy is part of God's story.
One thing that I've kind of realized, I knew it, but I've really realized it. The only time that our family eats together now is Wednesday nights here, and then if we have life group on Sundays. That's the only 2 times the whole week. Yeah. So usually last week we had soccer Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, multiple occasions, and then Friday the guys, some of the kids were at the guys' retreat, and it's always something. So we don't eat when we're here on Wednesday nights, we kind of spread out. So we can light a candle here if you want to. We can just set it over there in your kitty area.
You have to get in the okay corral.
Okay corral.
Yeah. I'll get the fireworks. Yeah. And those are challenging situations.
I think it's and you're we go different weeks. I know look ahead to next week. Those are great phases. Take those phases. Just different phases. That's what.
Yeah. And again, doing something, taking advantage of but once every 2 weeks. That's better than don't give up. And it's impossible for us. All right. So that's when you sit at home. When you lie down, it's bedtime blessings or bedtime prayer. Anybody tried anything like that? Had any success? A lot of you already had some pretty good bedtime. We need you to come on. We're going through the Deuteronomy 6 rhythm about. Now we're talking about when you lie down, your bedtime routine. Tucking your kids in, or praying with your kids, or blessing them. Or are you just so ready for them to be in bed?
Feels like that. I think a lot of times, I'm not just so tired. I just am but we do share out of it. So given it, each kid gets a little bit longer bedtime to swap out, but the short one always gets blessing, and we have always done
Short.
No, not the short one. The one that gets the tournament time.
Okay.
Always gets the blessing level. And this is something I do. I don't even know if you know it, but I'll say, love them, your heart, soul, mind, and cupcakes.
Yeah.
Or I'll make up songs. Like, yeah. So I always like
Please,
make
what kind of Bible you using over there? Please, I want that kind of Bible. Yeah, you can't say things like that out loud.
Okay.
How many of you thought cupcakes was going to be the next one?
Like, I'll make up a word. Like, I'll make up a weird, like a funny word, and then they'll say, no, my string. You know, like, because I want them to remember.
Okay.
I want them to come up. But she'll tell you that that's what I've always done. And then I tickle. Okay, I'm not sure.
And thank you for that.
Now the rest of you can feel comfortable to share it. Can't be any sillier than that.
I know. No, I did.
Did you get that from Matt?
I found out with everybody else.
They may say that. I don't know.
We're in an interesting phase where we have 3 that are pseudo close in age, but far enough apart that, like, Isabel's older, she gets to stay up a little bit later, but Ellen's in this like middle spot. She's in middle school, but we sent her to bed at the same time we've done Dominic. So there's discussions like, okay, we don't even think about it. Just go, okay, Ellen and Dominic come to bed. But now she is 11. She's almost 12. She's in middle school. And that conversation of like, okay, how do we shift now to let her have a little bit more free time? But you don't even think about it. You just kind of get on a rhythm and bedtime, go, go, go. Now she's, can I stay up later? No, I'd like to hang out. And then it goes, well, if she gets to stay up that late, you let Isabel stay up late, you know, it's all.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
This is different from bedtime, but I have like wrestled with, is it wrong to say you can't do that because they are older?
mm-hmm.
Like, is that a bad excuse?
No.
Like,
I mean, I think
No, I think
no.
yeah.
like I find myself having to say that because mine are so different. They're 5 years apart. So I'm always like, why can't he go outside? Because he's bigger, but he's older. Like, that just, I don't know, I hate that.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
And we're kind of in a weird spot because we got called to the carpet the other day because he said, you know, when you're a little bit older, you can do that. Elon goes, well, when Isabel was 11, she got it. And we're like, oh, you're right. We just hadn't thought of it. Like,
Yeah.
so we're in these like 3 very similar but also very different stages. Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with saying you can't because you're not old enough yet. The issue I have is like, do I tell my middle child, you need to go to bed because your brother's used to having somebody in the room? Kind of asking her to cater to his time versus go, okay, you know what? You get your time. He's going to have to learn about you. That kind of.
I think it's fun kid too. Like Elizabeth, she's in the 4th grade now. This summer, she went on a trip with them for a couple days. Well, somebody asked Evelyn to go for fall break. And Evelyn's just not, like, Evelyn would not do well. So I said no for Evelyn, my oldest, who's 11. Even though Elizabeth got to, but Elizabeth's a different personality. They have different needs.
I just never know the excuse when the thing is so the same. But like you said, they're so different. And it may be because one is older. And that's usually the
Or
excuse. But
what they're dealing with. You know what I mean? Like, Evelyn is, I won't say more needy, but she is more needy towards me. Elizabeth, I mean, she's good.
so what did you tell Evelyn? Why couldn't she go?
Well,
you're more needy.
so the mom said, this is just between us.
Okay.
Well, their daughter told Evelyn, I said no. But after fall break, I was like, was I right? Like, you were so tired. You need a time. Like, middle school's tough. We're still getting the hang of it. Did you not enjoy spending time at home doing absolutely nothing? She's like, well, like, she would have been too emotionally, too socially stressed to be gone, like, to go from middle school, bam, 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 and then go with another family to Florida for a week. I mean, that would have been too much for her, you know.
And she took it.
Yeah, she understood at the end. But like,
So just say cupcakes to them and it'll distract them.
Yeah.
Cupcakes.
Your kids are too used to be upset. Well, I think those are the discernment things that you have to do as a parent. And, you know, like, are you being fair, being consistent? Oh, is that the ultimate goal? The ultimate goal, what's best for the kid?
Our little kids get to do stuff our oldest would never have gotten to do, just because it's like,
We're tired.
oh, we're tired.
Yeah.
And like it's so hard to be like, well, we're waiting. And then there's some things we have to make a certain age, but like they. And if your oldest complains about your parenting, you just say, "You're our first pancake."
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, like when they're little, I feel like you said you're just not old enough yet. I think they can understand that, and that usually works. When they get older, I feel like you're just gonna have to explain it. I feel like usually they do get it. You know, if you have just when they're calm, sit down.
Why?
And at the end of the day, like, I mean, I do say, like, there's nothing I want more than your safetyness and happiness. And I do feel like this is why I'm doing it, but it's not.
I think there's certainly something for kids having something to look forward to. Like when we were youth ministers, when we first started, Grim was 4 and Matthew 1, and we would take them on stuff. But then as they got closer to like middle school, high school age, like we didn't let them come on the retreats before, because we wanted them, like if they had been on the retreats their whole life, it's not going to be a big deal. They don't have a lot to look forward to. Sometimes it's not bad for kids to wait for things and have something to look forward to.
I think one of the keys that we figured out, we knew this because we both talked to, professionally our clients about it, but then as parents did it. Best time to have that conversation about the stay up is not bedtime. Yeah. Because like you said, like they'll listen, they'll hear, they'll reason, the whole thing is special, but not in that moment. In that moment, they're like, but why? You could say all the right things, they won't hear it. Whereas if you do it the next morning, hey, by the way, let's talk about last night. What are you wanting as an 11-year-old, 12-year-old? What do you want to do? You didn't question. That's a different conversation versus in the moment, because you're tired, you're screaming at the night, threatening gut misusing God's word, whatever.
I have thought about that. Like, I really think that's what it is.
That really
What a great memory you made, though.
Can I get a
What's coming before the
Well, I think you have a good point about like timing when you have that conversations is important. And so like in there might be in a moment where the child is pressing you for an answer or an explanation, and especially if it's bedtime, and you might be like, we talk about this tomorrow. Maybe you set another time to talk about it. And it gives you a chance to come up with a plan and think through it. So when you sit at home, when you lie down, and when you get up, any morning routines that have been working or not working, gathering the group together, are you just, when you just get them to school or you talk about like in your car, anybody?
I stole Lindsay's morning prayer Monday when I got to a certain college. And then, that was good that morning. Then, something's been going on with fitness. I've had lots of fits and tantrums. And Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, he's not wanting to go to school. Or he didn't want to wear his shoes. So, everything to wear. It was shoving him in the car, screaming so that I'm not late to work. And him screaming most of the way there. We got close to there, just sit quiet, calming myself before I had first graders. So we didn't do it for like 3 mornings, and then that, and then Friday was like morning. Right when we get to the Dollar General.
So the Dollar General is the trigger?
Yes,
Okay.
Dollar General because we're getting close, like we're almost there. Yeah. She is.
Yeah.
Oh, she called me one.
You're gonna have to pray. I said, you be quiet. This is not your
Oh, I
fault.
got scolded.
Just what did you?
Yeah.
You don't ever have me.
I told Bennett now has to go tell us. We. Wow, it's almost like that. I think that is weird.
Ryan dropped off Peter, and we did two classes. And one morning, Peter what?
I don't even know where this is.
Oh, you wouldn't. Peter wanted to take a football into school,
okay.
and you're like, you can't take it.
He had a football like in the hand. He's ready to go. I'm like, you can't do that. I think they're gonna let you. Yeah. He just hugged the column right in front of us. And the football coach had to like pick him up and like set him inside, and then he just held on the door and I just yeah, apparently he did it progressively throughout the whole way. Like McCoy was trying to drag him on to school, and then it was like, we have to tell him you can't ever do that again. But I'm like, he's just like going up the pole, holding him on. The coach just picked him up and just kept going over his movement. And he eventually got in. The next morning, I just apologized. The coach, he's like, oh, and he tried to stand in front of the car first. I forgot that. He just stood in front of the car just staring at me. Like, you need to get up, but then he was the pole. So, at least he wasn't in front of the car. We have bad
Kindergarten.
There's really nothing
So-
in life that prepares you for that.
Tired
So
this
it's
week.
like there might have even been like a pleasant morning. We've said the blessing, all is well, and then like one thing. So like,
I was like, just tell him to put the football in his backpack. Like, I couldn't think of anything. I needed to go. No problem solving skills in that. Should have thought of it before. You can't take football into school. I don't know.
Why didn't you think of that?
I don't know.
Everybody thinks of that, right?
Don't stand in front of the car and car under trouble.
I sometimes feel discouraged because I've done all the right things,
It's supposed to
and
work.
my kids still act like sometimes. And so, but I hope that it's more about looking back and thinking like, okay, what was the general vibe, or like what were we trying to do, and then they remember those things, not that sometimes they get their way. So it's God.
And the
Try to
extra.
take on.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I think that's an important, like you said, I think it's something. Right. Because when, at the end of the day, you know, Ryan might not have thought this, but, you know, you might have thought, where did I fail? You know, what did I miss? What did I not do? The truth is, you did it. Kids might be pumped out for it.
Yeah.
You know, and
I
they
mean,
all
we
are.
have a lot
They're
of
going through all those emotions, so they all. So.
We have a lot of emotions, like anxiety, like, this sounds weird, but like I'll roll down the windows and we go through Pleasant Plains to school. And I'll kind of like swerve. and the windows will be down and I'll have kids just like Ella will be like, I'm the math master, I got this. Like they'll be like screaming all their fears. And it kind of like
Scream
a pump
outside.
up, you know, I don't know what athletes do, you know how they like have their like locker room. It's kind of like our car locker room, just to get all our anxious, whatever we're thinking about. And then we pull up to school calm and collected. And
I would have known you were yelling.
get out, yell out the window. And then I'll drop them off, not act like I'm fine.
Do you get any looks on Pleasant Plains when you're driving
No,
by?
I mean, because Evelyn's now, like, she doesn't want to be stopped when she yells. Like, she needs to go
Okay.
when she's yelling. All her feelings out. So.
I think too, realizing that some kids want to hug that and cry and not go in, like as an adult.
Did that here.
So they're having the same feelings that we are as adults. They just don't want
Just philosophy I'm still with it. I just
Left. I can still see him like kicking like.
Going on that, I was listening to a podcast and it was talking about like, you know how like if the kid has something and we kind of pull it away and you can't have that or you can't do that. But how do we feel when somebody jerks our phones out of our hands when we're trying to unwind or just have our time? And we do have to remember that their emotions really are the same as ours. They're just in little form, and they don't know what's. So we have to help to do those.
I always talk to parents, and I say they have big emotions without the translation. They just don't know what they're feeling. And so that's where, like, I love the idea of Lindsay saying, like, we have the same one. That's where you help them understand what it is. I'm feeling overwhelmed. I got a great text from my oldest not long ago. She was like, for stimulus. Part of me as a parent, oh, that stinks. Part of me as a therapist was like, yeah, she used the right word. And, like, she was able to identify that. She tell me what she was feeling. And so I think a lot of that comes from us as parents going, dude, I feel that way too. I didn't want to go in. I wanted to hug the pole and scream, not go in. I said that to my kid this week. She's like, I don't want to go to school. I said, sometimes I teach here. She goes, yeah, I don't think you can say that. But I mean, it's how they learn what those emotions are. And they're going to learn those emotions somewhere. Better to learn it at home, how to handle them, versus the world telling them they are, or how they should feel, or what they should
And really the point of these habits of the household, not really to address behavior issues or anything like that, as much as it is about just giving children an anchor to come back to, a reality of what God is, what family means, that you're loved. Like that's what they're going to need to process these feelings and these experiences. They're not going to really need a set of rules to follow, as much as they're going to need a heart that allows them to kind of take a breath and relax at who they are in Christ, who they are in the family, and that regardless of the chaos, they're still loved and they're always going to be there, those kinds of things. And so I think these habits, done over time as consistently as you can, are kind of being filed away in their memory for those times. I mean, ultimately, you're preparing them for, but to be out on their own. You really don't want them at home, living in your basement when they're third. You really want them to be able to function as an adult and deal with these emotions, in great ways, and grow up to love God with all their heart, and know that they're loved by you and to love you.
I heard on a podcast recently someone who had dropped their kid off at college for the first time and they were really struggling. And two moms were talking. She's like, I'm just trying not to eat a cake and stay in bed all the time. And she said, another mom said, when she is going through a hard time, she leans harder into her habits. And I love that because one, you have habits that are healthy habits. And I think sometimes when our family feels swirly, it's like, okay, what are the things that we do to bring us back together? Even if you're still busy, if you have a game night or at one dinner or some habits that you just lean harder into when things are so wild. They just sort of make you feel grounded and stable. Are so good habits.
It's going to be messy. It's going to be chaos. But part of that is a sign of life. That your family has life, and you've got these things going on, but it's always bringing it back to things that matter most. Letting that be a memory. I was going to show a video, almost out of time. So let's, I don't know if you had a chance to read the chapter on family devotions. It was at chapter 5. You will read that. We'll show the video next week. And what he's suggesting, when I remember thinking about family devotion, all I think about was the Bible class, trying to have a Bible class for kids. And it ended up being something very different. And probably what he calls a family devotion could be just a prayer, or it could just be a Bible story or just a conversation. It doesn't have to be some elaborate thing where, the kids get their Bibles and their hands folded and, you've got a flannel board or whatever, and you're teaching them things. But it's really just more about kind of that relationship and reinforcing those truths, pressing them on your heart, on their hearts, because it's on your heart and you're pressing the truths about God on their heart. So read that chapter 5. Watch the video and talk some more about that next week. And keep going. Keep going. We've spent the weekend, Thursday, Friday, came back yesterday with the triplets. That's the longest I've stayed there, for that extended period of time. They're feeding every 2 hours. I don't think Tammy is pushing them. She did. But, parenting is hard. I forgot about that. It's hard. And I know your kids are at different ages, but every one of your kids needs you. And every one of your kids probably needs you at different times. And so maybe they're not crying. Maybe they don't need to be fed a bottle. But it's pretty exhausting, isn't it? But it is worth the effort, and it's worth time. I'm telling you, there's something very special about adult children. Love you. That is a special place. You don't have to be perfect. And a hard place. Because, again, you're not, you're trying to parent. They're also parents. That's true. Have grace on your in-laws.
Have you met my in-law?
It's hard. It's hard, and I just want to acknowledge that for y'all, and just tell you that I'm proud of you, proud of the effort and the commitment that you're making. The time, crazy as it is, will be time well spent. Ryan, just leading us in prayer.
Right. Dear Lord, thank you for this morning. Thank you for this time to gather together and to share and to just have this moment of shared experiences that brings us closer together, draws us closer to you as we connect you and your word to all the things that we do in life to build our habits on that foundation so that we're able to our common goal, which is heavenly. In your son's name I pray.
Has this been recorded in live stream?
Cupcakes.
We can go back and watch the cupcake.
Yeah.
It can't help it.
A year.
We all age.
Yeah.
We're never start playing.
We're about to get set.
No, but all fish cake.
We definitely got he was crying.
Do they take?
Yeah, for 2 weeks. And now, we can go.
It is.
Letter K. He's literally off leash. We'll go in the front yard, he'll just sit, he doesn't run. I've never had a dog that's 12 and 8. It didn't just run across the neighborhood and leave. And if we're doing the football in the yard, he just lay there and watch us. But they would take him to Home Depot and Lowe's and all took him to Hobby Lobby and they would send us videos he's where that trash can is and little doors going open and close, open and close. And he's just laying there and the person's 50 feet away. And he's just it's a 7-minute video fast forward where he doesn't move the entire time because they told him to be in. And so it was $2,500, $2,700, the best money we could spend for family dog not being worth it.
And he doesn't chew on stuff.
He doesn't chew. He's
thing-
super great on a leash. Just
Yeah, so my daughter has dyslexia really bad, and they had a summer challenge. And she's like, I get a dog. I thought there was no way she was going to win out for hours a day. She read the entire summer, 27,000. Just that girl was I'm like, Oh, bless, you actually won.
Now,
Then what do you do?
Then you have to get a
You
dog.
get the dog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.